Now, typically popular people won't actually say when they're doing bad things, right? And just because they're good at hiding it doesn't mean that they're a good person. And a lot of times the worst people just so happen to be really good at manipulation. And there really is a lot of crazy stuff I uncovered while making this video, so I hope you enjoy it, I guess. But anyway, here we go.
Rapper Tory Lanez.
In 2020 was charged with shooting Megan Thee Stallion. Now, why did he do this, you might ask? According to him, he didn't do this. And it was just a campaign to tear his image. And I want y'all to pay attention to the tone of his voice switching up in this clip here.
Learn the story first, learn the factual parts of the story first, and then come at me and be like, yo, you need to fix this and fix that if that's what you feel like I did.
So what Tory just did there is a great example of voice modulation, which is an actual manipulation tactic to get people to listen to you more.
At a point where I just can't let my character be assassinated for things that are not even really true. Like,
Alright, he's saying it's not true, right? But let's take a quick listen to the call he made from jail a couple hours after the shooting.
I know she probably never ever gonna talk to me ever again, but nigga, I was just so fucking drunk, nigga, I didn't even know what the fuck was going on, bro. Regardless, that's not gonna make anything right, and that's not gonna make my actions right, bro.
So yeah, Tory Lanez, woman shooter, I think he deserves a spot on this list.
I could be honest with you, every time I went to jail, it was for somebody else.
Rapper Kevin Gates facing battery charges for kicking a female fan at a concert.
It was for somebody else.
The defendant is guilty of battery.
Like, I never made contact with the girl. I tried to. Like, I never made contact.
Hey, don't make me angry.
So yeah, Kevin Gates ended up getting 180 days in jail, but if you couldn't tell, there was 2 clips of him kicking people, but he just served time for one of them. And so y'all know how Kevin Gates has the teardrop tattoo, right? Well, as far as I know, he never publicly went into, what he did. However, in one of his songs called Tiger, in the lyrics, he kind of hints at what he did, if you want to call it that. And in the song, he says he got his stripe from popping someone that was, abusing women. And I just find that kind of ironic, considering he football punched this lady right in her ribs, which apparently is the same thing that he killed somebody for doing.
I think it's ever justifiable for a man to hit a female. We all been there.
Is it justifiable for a man to hit a woman? I can't speak for men, but I can speak for myself. You disrespect me, Lord Jesus, look out.
Oh Lord, this interview was literally while he was like in court fighting the case, so didn't really make him look too good. Also, another little thing I noticed, and I want to point out about Charlemagne himself.
We all been there.
And it's just the way he posed that controversial question. And it's when you ask somebody a question, you want to normalize it almost like, oh yeah, we all do that. We all be women, right? In 2019, YNW Melly was arrested for 2 counts of first-degree murder, and since 2019 he's been in court defending himself. So we're just going to take a quick look at the prosecutor's evidence and see what they have against him. So investigators found a spent .40 caliber shell in the backseat of the car, and they were able to conclude that it matched with the ones that are found at the actual crime scene too. And ballistic experts were also able to confirm that the bullet trajectories as well as the wound patterns were consistent with shots fired from within inside the vehicle. And no, this is not just someone's dirty asshole. This is something called bullet stippling, and this happens when a gunshot is fired from close range. It'll basically spray whatever is shot with a large amount of gunpowder residue. And this is also found on the bodies of the crime scene. And so in 2023, when it was time for the jury to decide a verdict, well, they were actually unable to. They somehow still couldn't conclude that this guy was guilty. So a retrial was scheduled for 2027, and that's where it lies right now. And if at this point in the video you have any contradicting things to say, feel free to put it in the comments. I'm actually genuinely curious to hear, what you guys are thinking about everything said so far.
Smell a rat.
Alrighty, I didn't really want to look into this guy just because of the nature of his crimes, and I already knew he's gonna be a piece of shit. But just for that reason, I don't think I can leave him out of here. But anyways, in 2015, he was arrested for doing and filming acts with somebody who was 13 years old, and he just got community service and probation for that. And then in 2018 he was arrested for drug trafficking, firearm offenses, robbery, etc., etc. It's a lot of stuff like that. Alrighty. So next up we got Kodak Black, and there isn't a lot of public details about this, and I'll get to why that is in a moment. But between 2017 and 2018, Kodak was charged with criminal sexual conduct in the first degree because the alleged victim was underage and reportedly sustained injury. However, Kodak accepted a plea deal, and rather than go to trial, he pled guilty to first degree assault and battery. And I'm guessing the reason he accepted the plea deal rather than going to trial is because he just didn't want the media attention to this. So there wasn't a lot of media attention because there was really nothing to record, and that's why a lot of people don't even know this happened. But the only thing is, when people do find out, they literally know that he pled guilty to certain charges, right? So it's almost a worse look. It just doesn't have as much media coverage. And the fact that the victim was underage doesn't help either, because there's a lot of bans on what can be said or shared about the person themselves. So there's just not a lot of info in general. But what we do know is that the assault occurred in 2016 after one of his concerts, and the victim was a high school age girl who reported it to the school nurse after the assault. And none of this is public information, but it is confirmed that there was a statement from the girl, there was photographs of the injuries and medical documentation from the school itself. And so the judge required Kodak to admit in open court that the victim did not consent. He also required them to speak directly to the victim and apologize, and pay $100,000 restitution to cover therapy and recovery costs for the girl. You might be thinking, damn, this is pretty serious. I wonder how much jail time he got. And while he only got 18 months on probation in order to attend counseling. And this is solely because he took the plea deal. Because I think he knew if he went to court with this and tried to fight it, he would be facing actual jail time. Well, anyways, I'm gonna wrap it up here. If you think I missed anybody, feel free to just comment it, and maybe I'll make a part 2 to this video. Anyways, bye.